We're Asia's largest sports media property and the world's largest martial arts organization. We have about, call it 60 plus events all across the world, and we're broadcast in over 190 countries. So in terms of growth areas, I think, we tend to think about that in two dimensions. One of those dimensions is geography, and the other is business line. So in terms of geography, we traditionally, call it 2, 3 years ago, most of our events were in Asia. But, as of, 2+ years ago, we've started to do events in the US and the Middle East here in Qatar. So in terms of, growth areas, we want to continue doubling down on these expansion markets. The Middle East is a really interesting market for us. It's a relatively young population, digitally savvy. We have great partners here in Qatar. So Qatar, is the launch point for our, operations in the Middle East. In the US, we have started to do events in Denver, in the Ball Arena where the Denver Nuggets play. We sold out the Ball Arena last year. So we are going to continue doing good work in the US and hopefully expand to more cities. So that's in terms of geography. Out of all the global, sports properties, we're the only ones. And when I say global, I mean, those with a broad reach, broad audience. We are the only ones headquartered in Asia. So as we expand to the Middle East, to the US, we take pride in that, right? Traditionally, most of the global sports leagues are Western. They're, the big American leagues or the English Premier League. We're the only ones from Asia, and we're expanding, to other markets now. So that's one area of growth. The other area of growth would be business line. Traditionally, sports properties like us rely on things like media rights, sponsorship, ticket sales, and the like as sort of a baseline set of revenues. But we have started to pursue pay-per-view, for instance, right, as a revenue line. We're doing brand licensing now. Look, I think the reality is that once you have a brand that is well loved by audiences and fans globally, there's many ways you can commercialize it. So we are looking to do that right now in different sorts of areas. As I mentioned, pay-per-view, brand licensing are two of those areas. So I think for me personally, be it 2025 or 24 or 23, the way I personally think about, investments is always the same. You want to look for long-term secular trends and then look for dislocations, right, in the market to find good prices, right, or pricing gaps where you can enter, an investment or a project. So look, I'm no investment guru, right, but anyone here, there's a lot of very smart people here that will tell you, right, things like digital infrastructure, things like energy transition, things like emerging market consumer demand, right? These are things that are long or at least medium-term trends, right, that I think everyone is very interested in. Now, the industry that I'm in, sports, right, is one of those very interesting trends that is also evergreen. If you think about sports as an asset class, sports leagues or teams like ourselves are scarce. Very few of us, in the world. These things basically have very entrenched fan bases that will consume the sport, that will follow these athletes, follow these teams in good and bad times. So in that perspective, it's also a counter-cyclical asset. Good times or bad, people want to consume sports. And the interesting thing now is actually that the sports market in terms of investment is also opening up. You have a lot of funds now, institutional capital being raised around sports, and the participation of private equity, venture, even sovereign funds, right, in sports assets has, taken off in the last couple of years. I mean, we are beneficiaries of that. If you look at our cap table, we have a lot of big name, institutional investors like QIA, right, the Qatari Investment Authority, who have invested, right, in us. So, I mean, for me personally, I love sports as an asset class, right? And I think we are a living example of why institutional capital feels the same way. I do have a longish personal history with the forum. I was actually a speaker at the first forum, which was virtual because of COVID. I think this was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But, One Championship's relationship with Qatar is a very close one. As I mentioned, QIA is one of our investors. And following the investment, we started to spend more time here to explore, business opportunities both in Qatar and the Middle East. And one of our first business partner beyond QIA's investment in Qatar was Media City Qatar, led by my good friend, engineer Jassim Al-Khoury. We have been partners with them now, for some time. So, during the first Qatar Economic Forum, where I was a speaker, and then, subsequent years, I have attended, every single year. So for me, there is always a personal connection with this forum. And I was actually had the privilege this year of being appointed to the QEF's first Global Advisory Council. So I'm very happy to be contributing ideas, networks, and other insights, to the formulation of this forum. Now, in terms of, from a pure kind of practical business perspective, this is a great forum, to be in. In fact, for me, it's become a must go-to event in my annual event calendar. If you think about the people that you meet here, obviously I have a chance to reconnect with many of my friends and associates in Qatar, but I'm also meeting a lot of people, not just in the region, but in the world. So every time I come here, it's just a great way to connect with people from the Middle East region, but also reconnect and get to know new potential friends and partners all around the world as well. It's almost like once a year, the whole world descends here, right, for this event. So, I think not just for me, but many, of my friends and associates who come to this event share the same view. It's one of those must-go events now. If you want to just, connect and sort of gain insight, right? If you look at the speakers speaking today, I'm sure you'd agree, right? These are some of the most intelligent people and some of the greatest minds, right, in the world of business and government. For me, I've made this an annual pilgrimage, and this year it is particularly special because it is my birthday today. So I'm spending my birthday in 2025 here at the QEF.